What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your stimulus check update, stimulus package and infrastructure update, and daily news report for Wednesday, September 29th. We got a lot of stuff that we need to cover today because tomorrow is the final day that the government has funding as of right now. So government funding is on the table today. We still got the debt ceiling that we have to worry about. We got the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill. We got the $3.5 trillion infrastructure, and we got some other reports as well. But I want to break down what is pretty much going on at this point. But first, before I get into that, I have been getting a lot of questions regarding a $600 stimulus check. Is it coming? Is it true? And are the American people going to receive it? The answer is yes. There is a $600 stimulus check, but I want to explain who this is going first. Not every single person in the United States is going to receive a $600 stimulus check. We are not even going to see many people get it, okay? Just to give you an idea, there's $700 million going towards a $600 stimulus check. That is it. Here's who's going to be receiving that. The Biden administration announced they will be sending out $600 stimulus checks in a package of about $700 million to Americans that have worked within the farming industry. This means meatpacking workers, farm workers, and grocery store workers are going to be receiving a $600 stimulus check. Again, not every single grocery store, okay? Just keep that in mind. It doesn't matter. Even though you may be a grocery store worker, a clerk, a stalker, whatever, right? It doesn't matter. It's going to be certain people that get this check. For the longest time, a lot of people were wondering, well, it's pretty much just gonna be meatpacking workers and farm workers that are gonna get the entirety of this money. That's not true. $20 million has been set aside for grocery stores. That's it, $20 million. So the purpose behind this is to provide a little bit of a stimulus check for those people for things that they've previously spent money on, like lost wages, the protective equipment, any expense due to, and care for dependents. Those are the things that they're planning on providing the stimulus for. But just to give you an idea, and remember, this is a very small amount of money going to a small group of people. But it is true, there are $600 stimulus checks that will be going out. Right now, just to give you an idea, this money is not coming from the federal government. Well, essentially, the money does come from the federal government. However, the agencies that are actually going to be sending it out, this time it's going to be state agencies, tribal governments, nonprofit organizations. Those will be the ones providing the funds to eligible workers, okay? So just to give you an idea, $600 stimulus checks are true, but they are not going to go to every single American, okay? Just want to put that. Now, let's get to the update on the stimulus talks, on the infrastructure talks, on the debt ceiling, and very important, the government funding, that as of tomorrow at midnight, the government would be shut down. That is as of right now. Here's what we know. Tomorrow will be a monumental day for Democrats. Today's an extremely important day as well. But Nancy Pelosi said that she's going to bring the $1.2 trillion bipartisan bill to the floor of the House. Progressives, they have been warning Nancy Pelosi not to do this because if she does, it will get rid of all the leverage that Democrats currently have to pass big, bold, and once-in-a-lifetime legislation. Yesterday, Bernie Sanders said, let's be crystal clear. If the bipartisan infrastructure bill is passed on its own on Thursday, this will be in violation of an agreement that was reached within the Democratic caucus in Congress. More importantly, it will end all leverage that we have to pass a major reconciliation bill. That means there will be no serious effort to address the long neglected crisis facing the working families of our country, the children, the elderly, the sick, and That's exactly what Bernie Sanders said. But let me explain why all of these things right now are so difficult to pass. Let's start with that $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, because right now, Nancy Pelosi, she's holding off this bill. It's not because of the $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill, at least according to reports yesterday and this morning. Nancy Pelosi's holding off that $1.2 trillion because first, she wants to see that the government gets funded. Here's the reason why. All lawmakers want to see the government get funded. However, what is tied with the government funding? Is it the debt ceiling increase? Possibly. Some lawmakers want to see them tied together, and they will not vote on the $1.2 trillion bill until the government gets funded. Others will not vote on the $1.2 trillion bill until the $3.5 trillion bill gets funded. Well, people will not vote on the $3.5 trillion bill because they say the $1.2 trillion bill has to be passed first. But now lawmakers are saying we can't pass the $3.5 trillion bill because there's a possibility that we need the budget reconciliation in order to increase the debt limit. So right now everyone's saying, oh, we can't do that one because we need this one first. Oh, I'd love to do that, but we gotta pass this first. And every single person has a different idea, a different agenda. That's creating a very difficult situation for all lawmakers. But here's what you need to understand. Right now, all of the leverage, all the leverage to pass a major reconciliation bill, it's pretty much on the table. It's on the table because if the $1.2 trillion bill passes, the big bill, the 3.5 or whatever trillion dollar bill it's going to be when it's all said and done, that may never pass. That's creating a huge issue. Right now, there's a lot of people that are just trying to decide, should we pass a large bill? Should it be smaller? Should we combine different bills together? And nobody has reports yesterday and as of today have Chuck Schumer saying again and again that we need to get this done. He's going to try again today to try to get the government funded, because if the government can get funded, till December 3rd or whenever, just push it back, kick the can down the road. Essentially what we're doing. If the government can get funded for just a little bit, it would give Democrats a little bit of a, kind of breathing room, a little bit of room to operate. That's what the purpose is of today. Now, who knows if this happens? Who knows if he goes back to the exact same strategies that he was playing with the other day of just, hey, Republicans, can we decide, can we get, consent to just have 50 votes on this government funding instead of 60? If that's the case, great, we can get the government funded. But Republicans are going to stand in the way every step of the way, not because they really want to make things extremely difficult, but because Republicans are upset with Democrats for going after this bipartisan budget reconciliation bill. This will be the second time, and they're passing big, bold legislation, robust packages. That's why Republicans are upset. Now, Republicans have done the exact same thing and pushed bills through without Democrats' votes. They've done this in the past. But this is something that they're saying that they need to do, something that we have to do. So we'll see. The government needs to get funded today or tomorrow, or they shut down. So government funding will be the first on the docket. That needs to be the first thing. Then the debt ceiling needs to be raised. Then the $3.5 trillion bill must be passed. And then finally, the $1.2 trillion bill should get passed at the end, right? That's the way all experts say this should go down. This is the only way it can go down. If it gets mixed up in any way, there's a possibility certain pieces of this puzzle don't get included. Here's the problem. Lawmakers are actually working backwards. Remember how I said government funding, debt ceiling, 3.5 and then 1.2? Well, the lawmakers right now are trying to push a $1.2 trillion bill through tomorrow. Then they'll pass the $3.5 trillion bill, if at all possible. And then they'll work on the government funding and the debt ceiling. It's so difficult to pass this. It is so difficult. And doing research is exhausting because I go and look at a certain article or go watch an interview from somebody. And it's like, this person says this. They're not going to vote for the $1.2 trillion bill until the $3.5 trillion bill is passed. Okay, great. Then you go read the next one. Okay, they're not going to vote on the $3.5 trillion bill because they have to worry about the debt ceiling. All right, well, okay, so they got to do the debt ceiling, then the 3.5, then the 1.2. But then you got moderates that say, no, we got to do the 1.2 first before the 3.5. Oh, so exhausting. But here's what we know. Right now, the government funding runs out tomorrow midnight. Well, the X date, which is essentially the date the government runs out of money, okay, not funding the government, but runs out of money, the U.S. government, okay? This is the X date, is what they call it. This is essentially going to be October 18th, according to Janet Yellen. We knew it's going to be between October, 15th, I believe? I think it was the 15th. October 15th through November 4th. Janet Yellen is saying it's now October 18th. She has a date. That's not good. That is not good, being that we're 19. That is not good. Less than 3 weeks. Congress works so slow, and we are 3 weeks away from seeing our government just default on all their debts. That's not great. This would be, according to Janet Yellen, economic calamity. It would be a self-imposed recession. This could be worse than 2008. I remember 2008. Do you remember 2008? Where home prices just dropped, valuations on businesses in a lot of cases just dropped, stocks dropped, everything dropped. People's 401ks, their investment accounts, everything just plummeted. It was a terrible, terrible time. I remember it. Okay, you probably do as well. We cannot go back to 2008. Now, according to Politico yesterday, Senator Kyrsten Sinema says she will not vote on anything until the bipartisan infrastructure bill. But Nancy Pelosi says she will not vote on this bill until the government gets funded. So the goal is to get the government funded today, pass a $1.2 trillion bill tomorrow. The problem is progressives will vote against it. Senator Bernie Sanders has already said he's been pushing progressives to block the vote tomorrow. And he says we need to see that the $3.5 trillion bill goes through. But again, we don't know what's going to happen until today and tomorrow actually are finished. Tomorrow night's going to be a critical night. I don't know what to expect. I honestly don't. I'll be here every step of the way. We will see pretty much who breaks first. I don't know. Will it be progressives? Will it be moderates? Will Nancy Pelosi break? Will President Biden just push to get anything? Whether it's we don't get the government funding, but we get a $1.2 trillion bill, it could happen. It honestly could happen. And I don't think not getting the government funded, but passing a $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, how does that help us in any way? It doesn't. It doesn't help us. So that's what's so confusing, is that immediately it doesn't help. In the future, great. But if the government never gets, that's a problem. So we're going to see what happens there. But honestly, when it comes to the $3.5 trillion stimulus package, too many people are wanting to add more provisions to it. And this is the hard part, is right now they're trying to get the $3.5 trillion bill. We got to get finalized. We can't vote on it if it's not finalized. So they're trying to get finalized. But the problem is multiple lawmakers are trying to bring additional provisions forward to add them into the bill. But yet moderates are saying, no, the bill must be reduced by more than half. More than half. They want to go from $3.5 trillion down to $1.5, maybe $2 trillion. It's looking like it's going to be a difficult bill to pass. But here's something that I just want to bring to you. It has to do with unemployment benefits. Senator Ron Wyden, just the other day, he wants to include a provision into this $3.5 trillion to provide at least 26 weeks of unemployment benefits. He says American workers need at least 6 months of benefits. There needs to be an online filing system in multiple languages, not just English. There must be benefits for part-time workers as well. And he says there needs to be many fixes that need to go into place to fix our broken unemployment system. This is just one piece of the right. Then we got progressives pushing for an eviction moratorium, an additional one, a 60-day eviction moratorium. That's something that they kind of brought, put in front of us, but this hasn't really been proposed. We will see. This is most likely going to be something that when the bill gets voted on or debated, it will be pushed in front of the House or Senate then. My guess is going to be pushed in front of the Senate. We'll see. But this is the problem, is that too many people are trying to push in their own agendas, their own line items, that this could delay the package even further. So we'll see what happens there. Also, just this morning, a new report from Gallup's, their economic confidence index was released. I want to give you an idea of where we're at regarding the U.S. Confidence. It's not looking great. Currently, we have a rating here in the U.S. at -20, -21. Probably think that's not too bad, right? In August, we're at -12. In July, we're at -6. Just to give you an idea, in April of 2020, about 2 weeks after the whole hit, we were at -33. 2 months after that, okay, in June of 2020, we were at -20. That's exactly where we're at today. Actually, I think this was September 11th through the 17th. I think it was somewhere right around there. So right now, the confidence, the economic confidence is not great. Many Americans are saying they're not confident because of rising cases, the jobs report, inflation fears, and now we're dealing with the possibility of a government shutdown. There's debt ceiling. The lawmakers are just bickering over, they're going back and forth on different things. So the confidence is not very high. It's very low. So we'll see what happens there. I doubt it's going to get any better over the next few months, but we will see. News. Here's what we know. And this is somewhat positive news. Pfizer has submitted their data to the FDA for children 5 to 11 years old. However, they are not seeking emergency use authorization yet. They are just submitting their data to the FDA for pretty much pre-approval or prior approval. What they are saying is right now the company says they are going to be coming forward in the following weeks, and they will be asking for the FDA's emergency use authorization. Pfizer does not expect the FDA to give authorization until possibly sometime in November. So it's not going to happen in October. Obviously, we're just a couple days away from October, but it's going to happen sometime in November according to their timetable. So that is some good news. The CDC also is saying that they have some more data coming back from people that are receiving their booster shots. Right now, the CDC says booster shots and their side effects are very similar to the second dose of the Pfizer. Some are saying that they're experiencing the exact same side effects as they received the last time. So whatever happened the last time, whether it was maybe you got a fever, right? Maybe you got a cough, right? Whatever the side effects were, you were just achy, doesn't matter. They're saying whatever the side effects were from the second dose will most likely be the side effects from this booster shot. If you had a very tough experience, just understand you will probably see the exact same thing happen when or if you get a booster shot. So they're putting this out there because they want people to understand what to expect, and so you could potentially be ready if you have to take multiple days off of work, or possibly get the booster shot on a Thursday or Friday so you have a little bit of the weekend to recover. At least that's what they're saying. Yesterday, this isn't the greatest news, but I want to provide this news to you because this is something that we are starting to see. Yesterday, United Airlines began letting go of about 593 employees who decided not to give. The company issued a policy, and those people that didn't comply would be fired. So they're now being let go. This was going to happen starting yesterday. Right now, it's currently unclear if these people are going to be receiving unemployment benefits due to the fact that they were terminated based on failing to comply with company policy. I wanted to bring this up because this is something that we are seeing. Multiple companies out there are letting their employees go, and some states are not actually granting them unemployment insurance benefits simply because they failed to comply with company policy. So just want to put that out there. If you have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. Again, I just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoyed today's video. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.